What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cav show. We got college football week 5, baby. I love it simply because we're seeing these conferences come back like the Big Ten, like the Pac-12. I love it. We'll start to see them at the end of this month, but it's the best thing for college football that's happened, right? Because if we were to look at it, from the beginning of the season, obviously a month ago, with the Big Ten being shut down due to the coronavirus, I was thinking this cannot be real. Give the student athletes some leverage, and I feel like the NCAA finally did their job and gave them leverage. So I cannot wait for this month of October. It's going to be great. But first of all, we got South Carolina versus Florida. Florida's 17.5-point favorites. Now, obviously, before the game time starts, these over-unders, the spreads on these teams are going to change. Obviously, minutes up to the game, but overall, I love Florida in this. Okay, Kyle, their quarterback, he's something special, dude. Last week, he was 30 for 42 with 416 yards passing and 6 touchdowns. Let that sink in. Do we have maybe a Tim Tebow Jr. in Florida Gators right now? If so, look for Florida Gators to really be scary, and honestly, they could run the table. And I've said that. I've said a lot of teams can run the table like Texas. I even said Oklahoma at the beginning of the year until they got embarrassed by Kansas State. But seriously, Florida's one of them. Kyle Pitts, he had 8 receptions for 170 yards and 4 touchdowns. Let me tell you, Florida's something serious now. We could maybe see the Florida Gators, like I said, with Tim Tebow back in 2008, back in those early, later on in the 2000s. So I love this, dude. I love where Florida's going right now. South Carolina's quarterback, Colin Hill, last week was 25 for 39. 290 yards passing with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Shi Smith, the receiver, he also had 10 receptions for 140 yards and 1 touchdown. Yes, South Carolina can throw. They can score the ball. 57 is the over-under. Like I said, they could change prior to the game. But I actually like the over in this game. Now, I don't really bet on the over-unders. I really bet on the spreads and the money lines. That's where it's at. Obviously, I'm not an expert in certain things. Obviously, the over-unders, but I love Florida 17.5. Probably moved to 18.5 before game time. I still love Florida. The way Kyle's been playing, the way the defense has been playing, I love Florida Gators. I love where they're going. The sky's the limit for them. I cannot wait. Then we got TCU versus Texas. Sam Ehlinger is something special. A senior at Texas. Quarterback. He's had experience. Look, I like it. Last week versus Texas Tech was an overtime win. That's what you need. Sam was 27 for 40, 262 yards passing with 5 touchdowns and only 1 pick. 5 touchdowns against Texas Tech. I love this, dude. At these early games, I want to see teams go through adversity. Overtime win. Texas, that's what they need. Texas, if they're going to make the playoffs this year, they got to squeak up these wins. Win these close games that they already obviously should have won. But, sometimes the best team doesn't win. It's similar to cards. Not always the best player wins. Not always the best team wins. So I love where Texas is going. They played TCU. They're 12-point favorites. Look, TCU, their quarterback, Max, he was 16 for 19 last week with 241 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. TCU can put up points. Look, but I still like Texas with this. I like them. I like the spread on this. 12, might change later on, but I love this, dude. I love Texas, how they're playing. I love Sam. The only concern I have with Texas is there's a secondary going to be legit when they really do play an elite team? Are they going to give up, big plays? That's what it boils down to for Texas. But I like Texas, 62.5. I like the over in this one. It's crazy. We see these big spreads in college football, but look, dude, it's legit. I love where Sam's going. I like Texas in this pick. Then we got Mizzou versus Tennessee. Tennessee is 12-point favorites. Mizzou kind of gave Bama a game last week. And I even said Bama was not going to cover. I think there were 28-point favorites, versus Missouri. I still was like, that's just too much. Sean Robinson, Mizzou's quarterback, he was 19 for 25, 185 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Look, really, obviously not the best start. Larry Roundtree the third, he had 14 receptions for 67 yards. 14 receptions, dude. That's a lot. I don't care if you're in college or the NFL. The over 10 receptions is a lot to me. Then we have Garrett G. He was 19 for 31, 250 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Okay, Tennessee's legit. Then they had a receiver, Ty Chandler. He was a running back. Ty Chandler, he had 13 carries for 86 yards last week. I like Tennessee, and I like this over-under 48.5. Might change a little bit to the game, but I still like the over. I know I'm going overs a lot this week, but I love Tennessee at home. I would love to see Missouri win. Since my pops graduated from Missouri, it makes more sense, right? But I still got to go with Tennessee in this pick. But I would love to see an upset by Mizzou. M-I-Z-Z-O-U. Get the upset one time for me, please. Just once. Then we got NC State versus Pittsburgh. What a surprise to me. Pittsburgh is 3-0. I've been sleeping on Pittsburgh, honestly. I've just been like, yo, really? They beat Louisville last week by 3. Kenny Prickett, their quarterback, he had 220 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and just 1 pick, dude. They're legit. The way Pittsburgh's playing right now, no doubt in my mind they beat NC State. NC State last week got killed by Virginia Tech, okay? Their quarterback, Devin, he was 12 for 16 for just 165 yards and 1 touchdown. Their running back, Knight, he had 14 carries for 94 yards. I look for NC State to run the ball, but look, the way Pittsburgh's playing right now, they're on fire. I expect them to come out, lights out. I'll take the spread. I'll take Pittsburgh at 14 right now, 100%, dude. It would be ignorant to go against Pittsburgh right now. They might be the hottest college team right now. I know that. Put the brakes. I know. They're telling me, Cap, slow. Chill out. But I'm telling you right now, Pittsburgh is something, dude. There's something special. I'm going with it. 47 is the over-under. I like the over. I really do. Now, obviously, I'm going to be wrong on the over-unders. Like I said, I don't really go with the over-unders. I just kind of like to do that for fun. But the spread, I'm telling you, I love Pittsburgh right there. Then we got Texas A&M versus Bama. Crazy matchup, right? Bama's 18-point favorites. 54.5 is the over-under. Bama's legit every year in and year out. Mac Jones, their quarterback, last week was 18 for 24, 249 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Okay? Their running back, Harris, Bama always has a great running back. He had 17 carries for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay? Then Jalen Waddle, their receiver, he had 8 receptions, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Look, Bama's legit. Now, when was the last time Bama lost to Texas A&M? This was back in 2012. It's kind of a similar scenario, right? Texas A&M going into Bama. We saw what happened. Johnny Manziel, that's when Johnny Manziel became Johnny Manziel. When he went into Bama and beat Bama, dude. This was Bama's prime when he did it in 2012. And everybody, I love, ever since that game, that's when Johnny Manziel became famous. And obviously, a sad story dealing with Johnny Manziel. I really thought he could have panned out in the NFL if he would have kept his head on straight. That's really what it boiled down to. If Johnny Manziel would have kept his head on straight and not lived like a rock star, you'd still be in the NFL right now, Johnny. But hey, he will go down as one of the best college quarterbacks ever. But, NFL, he was a bust. Sad story. Texas A&M, Kellen, their quarterback, last week was 17 for 28, 189 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Isaiah Spiller, their running back, had 8 carries for 117 yards. Look, I want to see Texas A&M run the ball. Also use the play action pass a lot. Spread Bama out. If you're going to beat Bama, you're going to spread them out and keep the offense off the field. I know it sounds easy, right? But I'm telling you, Texas A&M can do something here. Their coach is a championship coach, won with Florida State. I'd love to see where Texas A&M's at. I would love to see an upset against Bama. As we do know, back in 2012, like I said with Johnny Manziel, they were huge underdogs going into Bama. Okay, and they upset Bama. That's why Johnny Manziel became Heisman. Crazy, right? But I still got to go Bama here. The over-under, I don't want to touch it this game. I would like to lean more towards the under, but also the under. I could see it being a low-scoring game, like a 20-17 game, something in that area, but obviously I'm going to go Bama. I am, but like I said, I would love to see A&M get that upset. Is it going to be, history repeats itself of 2012? Maybe. We just never know. Then we got North Carolina versus Boston College. North Carolina might be a dark horse team here. Obviously, they got to play Notre Dame, Clemson. Obviously, if they run out, they should get in. Sam Howell, their quarterback, last week was 25 for 34, 295 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. D. Brown, he had 6 receptions for 94 yards. Boston College filled their quarterback against Texas State Bobcats. Never heard of them. They lost to them. Crazy, right? He was 28 for 38, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Look, I like North Carolina in this pick. They're 14-point favorites. I like the spread. I would go heavy on the spread here. North Carolina, I feel like they have a lot of talent, a good coach. I like where North Carolina's going. Heavy on North Carolina, no doubt. Then we got South Florida versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati 21-point favorites. Crazy. 45.5 is the over-under. I mean, this game, obviously, I'm definitely leaning more towards Cincinnati, but 21 is a big number. I would go money line on this game. I would go money line. Cincinnati beat Army. Deshaun Ryder, their quarterback, was 18 for 33 against Army, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. South Florida, their latest game was against Notre Dame, and they got shut out 52-0. Their quarterback, Jordan McLeod, he only had 64 yards. So obviously South Florida is definitely the underdog, but 21, that's deep. I would go money line. I like Cincinnati in this pick, and I like the over. I like the 45.5. I like to go with the over on this one. I'm going Cincy. Oklahoma State versus Kansas. Oklahoma State, is 22.5-point favorites? That's crazy. These spreads are insane to me. 54 to over under. Look, Oklahoma State, they beat West Virginia last week. That was kind of my upset pick. Shane, their quarterback last week was 15 for 21, 139 yards and 1 interception. Didn't really have a good game. But their receiver, L.D. Brown, he had, it was their running back, L.D. Brown. He had 11 carries for 103 yards and 1 touchdown. So I expect Oklahoma State to run the ball down Kansas' throat. I'm going to go Oklahoma State here. I would go money line here. You're the away team. 22.5 is a deep spread, dude. But Kansas is 0-2. They got blown out by Baylor. So it makes sense why Oklahoma State's so favorite, because Kansas is ass. They are trash. They are rubbish. They are pond scum. Okay? So I'm going with Oklahoma State here. I would lean more towards the money line. Okay? More towards the money line. Then we got Memphis versus Southern Mississippi University. To me, I love this. It's an even pick. I honestly don't know who to really go to. Memphis quarterback Brady White last week was 27 for 37, 280 yards passing, 4 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Their running back Clark, he had 20 carries, over 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Okay, the receiver Sean Dykes, he had 10 receptions, 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Memphis can put up points. I'm gonna go Memphis. I'm gonna go the away team, although it's even. Shane versus Stephen A. Austin last week, he had 141 yards and 2 touchdowns for SMU. So I'm going Memphis here. I want to see Memphis win. Obviously these teams probably won't be in the playoffs at all, but I still like to pick them here. I like Memphis. Then we got the biggest game of the week, no doubt. Auburn at Georgia. Georgia 7.5-point favorites. 43.5 is the over-under. I might lean more towards the under here. Okay, Auburn's quarterback, Bo Nix, last week was 16 for 27, 233 yards with 3 touchdowns. The receiver, Seth Williams, had 6 receptions for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Auburn can score. Georgia can score. Georgia had a little quarterback mixed up a little bit last week. Bennett, he ended up getting some PT. While he had PT, he had 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, their running back, Z. White, had 13 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. Georgia, I'm leaning more towards Georgia. They're at home, but I'm telling you, I really think Auburn, if Bo Nix has a great game here, it really boils down to which quarterback's going to have the better game. That's really what it boils down to. I think Auburn at Georgia, this is a coin flip. Obviously, I'm leaning more towards Georgia, but like I said, this might be the underdog pick here of the week. Go with Auburn here. The way Auburn plays, I like it. And Georgia, has been timid the past couple years when they play the big games. So I'm really leaning more. I like Auburn here. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to go Auburn with the upset. Let's go, Auburn. Let's see it, boys. Let's go. Then we have Tulsa versus UCF. UCF, I know I picked them to lose against Georgia Tech, a crazy, really upset pick that I got wrong, obviously. But UCF is legit. 21-point favorites. UCF, their quarterback, Dylan, he was 32 for 47 last week with 408 yards and 4 touchdowns. UCF obviously has one of the best offenses in college football today. No doubt about it, dude. Jalen Robinson, he had 9 receptions, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I like where UCF's at right now. Tulsa, Zach Smith, their quarterback last week, only had 165 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. I love UCF here. I'll take the spread 21, okay? I will. I'll do that. And 70.5 is the over-under. I'm leaning more towards the under, but typically these games go way above, though. So I don't want to really touch that, but I'm going to go under, but I love UCF. I love them. No doubt about it. Then we got Arkansas versus Mississippi State, dude. I love this. I love this so much. Mississippi State beat LSU, dude. Mississippi State's on the map. If Mississippi State goes undefeated, we're talking, hey, they're in the playoffs. They are a 4 seed. That is dangerous. That's something to be reckoned with, dude. This is real shit, bro. This is crazy, dude. I'm telling you, Mississippi State, KJ Castillo, their quarterback, he had 623 yards. KJ was balling, dude, with 5 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions versus LSU. Let that sink in. 623 yards versus LSU? Who is this KJ, dude? I'm telling you what, Mississippi State is something else, dude. Their receiver, Mitchell, he had 7 receptions for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. I love Mississippi State in this pick. They are 17-point favorites. I'll take that. I'll take that versus Arkansas. Arkansas's quarterback, Franks, he had 200 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks, throwing more picks than touchdowns. Okay, so to me, I love Mississippi State. I'll go with the spread here, 17. I'll take that. The way they're playing, they just beat LSU, dude. It would be ignorant to pick against Mississippi State. I'm going Mississippi State heavy on this one. Heavyweight. That's what I'm referring to. Heavyweight. Then we got Oklahoma versus Iowa State. This is my another upset pick of the week. I'm going Iowa State here. Oklahoma lost last week to Kansas State. For real? Spencer Rattler, I gave him some praise. Look, he didn't have the best game last week. He had 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. 3 picks really hurt there. 387 yards against Kansas State, but, there's no excuses. You guys lost to Kansas State. Oklahoma, you guys are done. Your season is over. I'm sorry, dude. Your season is over. That's it. Iowa State beat TCU last week. Their quarterback, Brack, he was 18 for 23, 211 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Their running back, Hill, he had 18 carries for 155 yards and 3 touchdowns. Expect Iowa State to run the ball down Oklahoma and use a lot of play action. Like I said, this is my upset. I'm going Iowa State here. 63 is the over-under. I'm going with the under, and I'm going Iowa State here. Like I said, Oklahoma, you guys, your season's over. So that's it. That's that, dude. I'm sorry. Then we got LSU versus Vanderbilt. Look, LSU obviously lost, their season opener. Crazy to me. They are missing Burrow. They're missing a lot of the key players that they missed. It's part of it. It's part of college football. Miles, their quarterback, during that game versus Mississippi State, he had 345 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions hurts here. Marshall Jr., he had 8 receptions for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, LSU still lost by 10 against Mississippi State. And they were favorites. So, to me, it's crazy, dude. It makes me cringe. I'm going LSU over Vanderbilt. I have to, okay? Vanderbilt's quarterback, Ken Seals, only had 150 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. So this is an easy pick. I'm going LSU, no freaking doubt. Then we got Virginia versus Clemson. Clemson is 28.5-point favorites? Damn, dude, this is crazy. 55 is the over-under. Like I said, the spread here for Clemson, I feel like it's too much. I'd go money line here. Virginia's quarterback Armstrong last week was 24 for 45, 269 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. So right here, it's just like, I don't know who to decide. Obviously, I'm going Clemson. Okay, that was a joke. I'm going freaking Clemson. Trevor Lawrence through 2 games. He's 20 for 37, 519 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. Travis, their running back through 2 games, has 25 carries, 170 yards, and 1 touchdown. I expect Clemson to give the ball to Travis Moore. He's been there for a while. I love him. Him and Trevor Lawrence will go to the NFL next year. It's just a matter of where they're going to go, what numbers are they going to get. Amari Rodgers, he also had 6 receptions, 134 yards, and 1 touchdown through 2 games. I love where Clemson's at right now. Clemson, to me, is the favorite to win the national championship this year. You know that they have Trevor and obviously Travis, their running back. So Trevor Lawrence, I think he can arguably win Heisman this year, no doubt. And obviously Clemson, they can run the table. Clemson, to me, is the team to beat. It's not Bama. It's not Auburn. It is Clemson Tigers. They're the team to beat. And my team, Notre Dame, plays them late this season. Obviously, you know my story dealing with Notre Dame. They show up at the big game, but they cannot win the big game. Lost to Georgia twice. Lost to Bama. We just keep losing the big games. We need to win the big games. Lost to Clemson. So it's over and over, but I love Clemson. Like I said, I would go money line here, though. Go Clemson on the money line. I'm telling you right now, the money line. But my 2 upset picks of the week are Iowa State over Oklahoma. I got you. I know it sounds ignorant. And then I got Auburn over Georgia, baby. That's my 2 upset picks of the week. Let's go, Auburn. Beat Georgia. Let's go!